Good morning, all of you. Up to our SLS class, what is cis trans? Yes, you should continue SLS class. You should continue SLS class. So already we covered cis trans isomerism, that is geometrical isomerism, where it is possible, where it is not possible, nomenclature, all we covered, boys. Now, what are the applications of this geometrical isomerism? That means this geometrical isomerism gives information about stability of that molecule, melting and boiling points, So, and also something else, acidic nature of some compounds. All these we will explain, boys. So let us discuss, first of all, applications of geometrical isomerism. So applications of geometrical isomerism. Let us start first one. Stability. How to explain the stability of these molecules? Boys, so this is a cis compound, this is a trans compound. See here trans compound, the similar groups are in opposite side. In trans, similar groups are on opposite sides. That means between these two, repulsions are very, very minimum because they are apart from each other. But here in cis compounds, these are very near to each other, same sites. More repulsions are there. That is nothing but van der Waals repulsions or steric repulsions, whatever it may be. Those repulsions are very, very high. Mostly we call it as van der Waals repulsions or steric repulsions. That is in case of cis compounds are very, very high. Therefore, cis compounds are less stable than that of trans compound in open chain compounds. In open chain compounds, cis compounds are less stable than trans compounds. That is, trans is more stable than cis component. Trans is more stable than cis compound because of steric repulsions. But in case of cycloalkenes, that means the cyclic compounds. It is open chain compounds, boys. Open chain alkenes. It is a cycloalkene cell. In case of cycloalkenes, so up to C11, that means 11 carbons in the ring. Up to C11, that is called as cycloandekene. So cis is greater than trans. So after that, trans is greater than cis. So this is all due to steric interactions and steric repulsion points. Therefore, finally, in general, open chain compounds, trans is more stable than cis. In case of cycloalkenes, so up to C11, cis is more stable than trans. So after C12, that is from C12 in cyclic condition, so that is trans is more stable than cis. So this is about stability of the compounds. Stability of the compounds. That means our cis trans isomerism clearly explains the stability of compounds. Next, it also explains the melting point of the compound, boys. So generally melting point only depending on packing efficiency. That means how much close they are approaching, they are packing in this component. Now see here, so this is trans compound, boys. It is a trans. So this is double bond. It is trans. That means the packing efficiency of trans is more when compared to cis. So because cis repulsion something else, that means here packing efficiency is less, here packing efficiency is more packing efficiency, more melting point. Therefore, trans compounds have more melting point than cis compounds. Therefore, trans compounds are having more melting point than that of cis compounds. So it is mainly depending on packing efficiency. So melting point depends on packing efficiency. So perfect packing gives more melting points. That perfect packing is applicable in case of trans compounds. Therefore, melting point of trans compound is greater than that of cis compound. Note on that point also. Next, boiling point. So boiling point, that is vaporization, liquid to vapor condition. It is mainly depending on number of factors. Hydrogen bonding, dipole interactions, dipole there is induced dipole. All these are possible, boys. So this is that condition. So I will explain with particular example to example where more boiling point, where less boiling point. We will discuss, boys. So melting point, no doubt, trans greater than cis. but boiling point depends on number of other factors: hydrogen bonding, dipole-dipole interactions, dipole-induced dipole interactions, induced dipole-induced dipole interactions. So that means, so these interactions, hydrogen bonding interactions are very, very high. More hydrogen bonding, more is the melting point. Sorry, more is the boiling point. So this is the strength of attractive forces between the molecules, boys. So more hydrogen bonds, more is the attraction between the molecules, more is the boiling point required. Therefore, order of boiling points is in the order of this one. That is hydrogen bonding greater than dipole-dipole, dipole-dipole greater than, dipole means polarity, boys. That is dipole moment. I will explain. Dipole, induced dipole, induced dipole, induced dipole. All these we are explaining. All these interactions we should know in particular. That is states of matter, boys. So van der Waal attraction forces. Okay. So this is about boiling point. Boiling point depends on number of factors, but melting point depends on only packing efficiency. Only packing efficiency. Let us discuss which one has more boiling point, which one has less boiling point. So in a particular different compounds first. So let us take a tabular form. See here. So I will continue. See here, tabular form, note on this tabular form, boys. So that is compound boiling point in degree centigrade, density in gram per ml, boys, density. Next, refractive index of that compound. Refractive index. So these are the columns, boys. Compound, boiling point, density, refractive index. Refractive index. Let us take one first compound. See here. First compound, C double bond C. So it is bonded with methyl group. It is bonded with methyl group. So this is hydrogen, boys. See here, it is a cis component. It is cis compound. So here, methyl group. Both are electron donating group, boys. That means this bond pair is pushed to this carbon. This methyl group, this bond pair pushed to this carbon. So okay. So that means these two are in the same direction, almost. So that's why. So mu, dipole moment value, mu not equal to 0. Here mu is equal to 0.25 dBi. Mu not equal to 0. So for example, I'm taking compound like this. It is a CH3H. It is a CH3. Sorry, trans compound I am taking. It is H. It is a CH3. So this is methyl group. This is methyl group. This is a cis compound. This is a trans compound. Okay. This methyl group pushing like this. This one is pushing like this. That means dipole moment. So in this direction, boys, dipole moment in this direction, it is plus mu, it is minus mu. So both are in opposite direction. Therefore, mu is equal to 0 in this case. That means, so here, if two groups are saved, automatically for cis compound mu not equal to 0, for trans compound mu is equal to 0. If two groups are saved, if two groups are not saved, the trans compound generally has less dipole moment. Okay, so this is, it has mu is equal to 0, it has a mu not equal to 0. Now, for cis compound, boiling point 3.7 degrees centigrade. 3.7 degrees centigrade. Okay, so for cis compound. Now for trans compound, boiling point 0.9 degrees centigrade. 0.9 degrees centigrade. Therefore, cis compound has, so see here, mu. So for this mu, for this compound, mu cis greater than mu trans. So more is the mu value, more is the polarity. Polarity directly proportional to mu and more polarity, more boiling point. More polarity, more boiling point. Therefore, it has more polarity. Therefore, it has more boiling point. It has less boiling point. So here, cis compound has more boiling point than that of trans. So therefore, boiling point in this case, cis greater than trans. Sorry. So cis greater than trans. Okay. What about density? So it is a completely memory based point. That is 0.6213 N. For cis compound 0.6213, for trans compound 0.6044. Therefore, so it is more than that of this one, any cis greater than trans. Note on the points. So it is 1.3931 refractive index. It is 1.3848 any. So here also cis greater than trans. Here also cis greater than trans. So boiling point, density, refractive index for this compound. So cis greater than trans points. Okay. So dipole moment of cis compound is greater than that of trans compound. So dipole moment plays a major role in particular boiling points. Next, second component. Second compound. Second compound. That is C double bond C. It is a H. So just a minute, sorry. It is Cl. It is H. It is H. It is CH3. It is CH3. Okay. So it is dipole moment. Let us discuss, boys. It is cis compound. So it is cis compound. Okay. Here methyl to carbon. This is the way dipole moment. So, but here chlorine is more electronegative than carbon. Positive to negative, boys. It is positive. It is negative. Therefore, in this direction, dipole moment like this. For example, I am taking trans. It is cis end. I am taking trans C double bond C. It is chlorine. It is hydrogen. It is hydrogen. It is methyl group. So here dipole moment in this direction. Here also in this direction. Dipole moment. See here, both are in the same direction. That means even though it is a trans compound, so this is trans compound. So, but both are in the same direction. It is positive. It is positive. Both these values are enhanced. Therefore, here dipole moment mu is not equal to 0, boys. Here mu not equal to 0 in case of trans. So that is 1.97 d/n. So in case of trans, 1.97 d/n. But in case of cis, mu is equal to 1.64 d/n. So therefore, here mu trans greater than mu cis. So therefore, more mu value, more is the boiling point. More mu value, more is the boiling point. Its boiling point is 37.4 degrees centigrade. Its boiling point is 32.8 degrees centigrade. Therefore, trans greater than cis. In this case, trans greater than cis. So now density N, it is 0.9347. It has a density value 0.935. So therefore, here also trans greater than cis. Here also trans greater than cis. Here it is 1.4068. It is 1.4058. 4058. Here cis greater than trans. Here cis greater than trans. That means, boys, always trans compound has no zero dipole moment. That is depending on the groups attached. That is depending on groups attached. Okay. Okay. This is about second compound. Let us discuss third compound. Yes. So you should keep these values, boys. Otherwise, which one has more, which one has less? That's sufficient to you. For example. Now, so refractive index neglected, boys. So only we are concentrating on boiling point and density. So boiling point and density we are going to discuss. First of all, next third compound. See here, double bond Cl. It is a cis compound, boys. So its mu not equal to 0. Its mu is equal to 1.84. Next, we are taking like this. Cl. It is a trans compound. So here, so chlorine, this is the way dipole moment, this is the way dipole moment, boys. It is positive, it is negative, exactly similar groups. So plus mu minus mu cancel. Therefore, mu is equal to 0. Therefore, mu is equal to 0 in this case. So therefore, here more dipole moment, here less dipole moment. Therefore, boiling point of this one is more than that of boiling point of this one. So its boiling point is 60.3 degrees centigrade. Its boiling point 47.4 degrees centigrade. Here cis greater than trans was. Here cis greater than trans. So density it is 1.28. So it is 1.25. So once again, this one also cis greater than trans. 1.2835, 1.2583. So standard values. So cis greater than trans. Next, fourth compound. That is, I am taking one side iodine, one side chlorine. Okay. So next, it is cis. It is chlorine. It is iodine. Boys, both these groups are not same, but something more electronegative. So it is in this direction dipole moment. It is in this direction. Here it is in this direction. Here in this direction. It is not equal to 0. Here mu not equal to 0. Here also mu not equal to 0 because both these groups are not same. No need refractive index, boys. No need of refractive index. Okay. So mu not equal to 0, mu not equal to 0. But so it has more dipole moment, it has less dipole moment. So its value is, boys, opposite, but not exactly same. Therefore, something is cancelled, some value is remaining. So therefore, in this case, mu is equal to 0.55. In this case, mu is equal to 1.27. Therefore, here mu cis greater than mu trans. So here mu cis greater than mu trans. Therefore, boiling point of cis is greater than that of boiling point of trans. Here boiling point values now. Boiling point value 1162, 117 degrees centigrade. It is 113 to 114 degrees centigrade. So cis greater than trans. Cis greater than trans. Okay. So dipole moment values, that is density values, boys. So density value, it is 2.2080. It has 2.10488. So therefore, once again, cis greater than trans. So in most of the cases, cis greater than trans. Very rarely, trans greater than cis, boys. Okay. Mu value, that is calculated, already we calculated in chemical bonding, boys. Mu is equal to mu of that is delta into L. So please check your chemical bonding notes. So dipole moment we calculated there with a particular examples. Okay. So here, so trans has less dipole moment, cis has more dipole moment. It is the fourth component. Next, fifth component. Fifth compound, that is, see here, C double bond C, it is a Cl, it is a CH3 boys. One side Cl, another side CH3. So it is a H, it is a Cl. Okay. So its mu is equal to, so 2.20. So boys, in this direction, positive to negative. It is in this direction, positive to negative. It is in this direction, positive to negative. So all these are in same sides. Therefore, mu is 2.20. So next, for example, we are taking the compound like this. So that is, I'm taking trans condition. So that is a Cl are in trans. So it is a Cl, it is a CH3Na. So it is plus mu, it is a minus mu. These two values are cancelled. Only we have this value, boys. So therefore, very less value, that is mu is equal to 0.84 in this case. 0.84 in this case. Therefore, here mu cis greater than mu trans. Mu cis greater than mu trans. Therefore, boiling point of cis is greater than the boiling point of trans. That is, its value is 93 degrees centigrade. Its value is 76 degrees centigrade. Therefore, cis greater than trans, boys. Cis greater than trans. Next, density values. It is 1.1870. It has 1.1704. Cis greater than trans. Cis greater than trans. So it is next compound. Next. Please keep in mind which one has more boiling point, which one has less boiling point at least. That was depending on mu value, boys. Sixth one. Sixth one. Just where I'm taking. So cyanide, boys. It is a cyanide, cis cyanide. Cyano compound. It is cis in this direction dipole moment. So in this direction dipole moment, boys. So that means enhanced. Next. Just is not CH3, not Cn, CH3, CS. It is in this direction. It is in this CH3. Now, C double bond C. So it is a Cn direction. It is a CH3 direction. In this direction, it is this direction. Boys, both are in the same side. It is a trans. It is a cis. So therefore, these are in opposite direction, but it is more same side, boys. Therefore, its mu is equal to 4.53. Its mu is equal to 4.08. 4.08. Therefore, cis less than trans. Cis less than trans. That is a trans greater than cis. Therefore, mu trans greater than mu cis. Therefore, boiling point of trans is greater than the boiling point of cis. Its boiling point is 108. Its boiling point is 122. So here trans greater than cis. Here trans greater than cis. Boiling point. Next. So density value, it is 0.8244. It has 0.8239. So therefore, so cis greater than trans. It has cis greater than trans. So boys, dipole, that is boiling point directly proportional to dipole moment. Please keep in mind. More dipole moment, more polarity, more is the boiling point. More is the boiling point. Seventh compound, cyclic compounds, let us take octene. Octene. So it is a cis compound, boys. Mu is equal to 0.43. Next, trans compound. See, I am taking this double bond here. So twisting, boys. So that means it is like this. Okay. Between these two, there is a bond. It is a trans condition, boys. It is a trans. So mu is equal to 0.82 and 0.82. So more polarity. So therefore here mu trans greater than mu cis. Here mu trans greater than mu cis. So here boiling point 74 to 75 degrees centigrade. It is 75 degrees. Almost same, boys. Both these two compounds have almost same. Density almost same end. Therefore 0.8443. It has 0.8483 and almost same values. So almost same values. So therefore, it has 75. It has almost 75. So it is almost same, has same boiling point. No greater difference. That's why boiling points are also not great difference. Next, eighth compound. So that is decene. Okay. So this one. So it is a cis compound, boys. It is cis compound. So dipole moment is in this direction. Therefore, mu is equal to 0.44. 0.44. Trans compound, let us take. Trans compound. This is a trans, boys. This is a trans. So in this direction, this is the dipole moment condition. Something is cancelled. Therefore, so mu is equal to 0.15. 0.15. So here mu cis greater than mu trans. Mu cis greater than mu trans. So its value 194 or 195 roughly. It is 194. Both these have same boiling points. Both these have same boiling points. So next, it is 0.8772. Sorry, 70 as per your book. So it is 0.8672. 8672. That is trans greater than cis. So almost the same boiling points. Almost the same boiling points. Next, ninth one and last one in this series. Ninth one. See here, C double bond C, COOET. That is ester group, boys. It is also COOET. Okay, mu not equal to 0. So mu not equal to 0. Mu is equal to 2.59 value. 2.59. Its boiling point 223 Kelvin. Sorry, degrees centigrade. So it is 1.067. Next, trans compound we are taking, boys. So it is a COOET. It is a COOET. Trans compound. This one also has mu not equal to 0. Boys, COOET means C double bond OET. Okay. So that's why mu is not equal to 0, boys. So here also mu not equal to 0. So mu is equal to 2.40. So therefore, mu cis greater than mu trans. Mu cis greater than mu trans. So it has more boiling point than this one. It is 118 degrees centigrade. So it has 1.052 is the density value, boys. 1.052 is the density. So like this, we will discuss about dipole moments, boys. More is the dipole moment, more is the boiling point. That plays major role. More polarity, more dipole moment. Polarity directly proportional to dipole moment. So these are the examples towards that boiling point and density cell. So see here, boys, all these finally I'm going to conclude this concept like this. How is that? So that means in general, as mu dipole moment increases, so boiling point increases, boys. As dipole moment increases, boiling point increases. So next, molar volume decreases. As volume decreases, density increases. Density increases. And refractive index also some increases. Refractive index also increases. So this is our general category, boys. This is about melting and boiling points in case of cis and trans compounds, boys. Most of the cases, very rare other condition. So cis has more dipole moment than trans. Okay, so in most of the cases, but rarely trans also has more conditions. Already we observed some of the examples. This is about so boiling points and some other conditions. Next, this dipole moment is also helpful to explain acidic nature of the compounds. Let us take carboxylic acid. Next application, fourth application. So this concept, geometrical isomerism concept, is used to explain acidic strength of carboxylic acids. Acidic strength of carboxylic acids. How to explain acidic strength of carboxylic acids? Okay, so generally, boys, this cis carboxylic acids are more acidic than trans carboxylic acids. Cis carboxylic acids are more acidic than trans carboxylic acids. So it's very, very important, boys. Let us observe the compound C here. C double bond C, it is a COOH, it is a carboxylic acid. Here a group is attached, boys. So let us observe this group as Z, a group which is attached. So it is G means group, boys. It is a cis compound. Okay. So next, C double bond C, COOH. So a group is attached. So it is a trans compound. Acidic nature of cis compound is greater than that of acidic nature of strand component. Okay. If for example, if this losses H plus ion, if this one losses H plus ion, see here, this converts into COO minus ion with group Gl. This converts into COO minus ion with group Gl. This is more stable. The anion is more stable, boys. The anion, this one is less stable. So it has more stability, it has less stability. Because this ion is more stable, this is ready to convert into like this after losing this H plus ion. That means, so it has more acidic nature, ready to lose this H plus ion to convert into a stable anion, and it has less acidic nature. Because this anion is less stable, boys. This anion is less stable. Okay. So therefore, so stability of it is A and it is B. Stability of A greater than B. Stability of A greater than B. Okay. So this is next acidic nature. Acidic nature. Cis greater than trans. Why, sir? Because of this condition. Because of this condition, cis compounds are more stable than trans compounds. Let us take an example. Malic acid, fumaric acid, already we covered. So see here, 2 COOH to the double bond are in the same site. So it is a malic acid. Example, boys, for this explanation. That is a malic acid. Cis component. Malic acid cis compound. Fumaric acid. So that is a trans component. COOH and COH both are in opposite sides. It is a fumaric acid. It is a trans component. Let us observe the points. See here. So it's mu not equal to 0 boys. But here also COH, COH. So here also mu not equal to 0. Even though there is trans, it is COH is nothing but C double bond OO like that. That's a mu is not equal to 0. Mu is not equal to 0. Okay. Next, boiling point. Boiling point of malic acid is 135 degrees centigrade. It has 165 degrees centigrade. 135, 165. Next, melting point. Melting points. So generally, trans compounds have more melting point boys. So it is a cis compound. Therefore, it has 130 degrees centigrade. It is its melting point. It is 286 degrees melting point. 280 degrees. Next, solubility in compound. Solubility. So solubility is 788 gram per liter is the solubility boys. 788. Okay, it is just 7 gram per liter. 7. That means it has more solubility. Next, dissociation constant acid. It is a dibasic acid boys. So two dissociation constants. Ka1 for that one is 1.5 into 10 power minus 2. It is a 10 power minus 3. Ka1 minus 3. Ka2 second dissociation constant. 2.6 into 10 power minus 7. It is 3 into 10 power minus 5 boys. So that means that value is more than that of this one. That value, Ka value is more than that of this one. So therefore, fumaric acid, Ka, Kb values. See here, 10 power minus 2, 10 power minus 3. So that means which one is more stable? So this is more acidic. So therefore, here cis acid. That means acidic nature is directly proportional to Ka value. Boys. More Ka, more acidic nature. So its Ka value is more than that of this one. So therefore, this is more acidic than this one. And altogether, this is acidic. Therefore, finally, what we are going to discuss, so that is malic acid is stronger acid than fumaric acid. Malic acid is a stronger acid than fumaric acid. That is, cis acid is more acidic than strong. That is fumaric acid. Cis acid is more acidic than fumaric acid. Okay. So this is about acidic strength. All these we are explaining with the help of cis trans isomerism, boys. So which one is more acidic, which one is less acidic? So this is the application part of cis trans isomerism. See boys, next topic and next subheading, last topic in this geometrical isomerism, that is calculation of number of geometrical isomers. Subheading, calculation of number of geometrical isomers. Calculation of number of geometrical isomers. This is our topic, boys. How many geometrical isomers are possible from a given compound? How to identify? There is a formula, boys. See here. First point. So, boys, there is a CH double bond CH. Okay. So that means this contains n number of double bonds. N number of double bonds. So here two groups are attached, G1 and G2. G1 and G2. If these two groups are not same, that means no doubt it is G1, it is G2. Both the groups are not same. Then number of geometrical isomers in this case is 2 power n. N is the number of pi bonds. That is the number of double bonds. N is equal to number of double bonds, boys. So number of double bonds. That means if terminal groups are not same, it is asymmetric molecule, boys. It is asymmetric molecule, unsymmetrical. If you cut a double bond, so two non-equal groups are coming out. Two non. Let us discuss with an example. Please wait. So if these two groups are not same, it is unsymmetrical molecule, boys. Unsymmetrical molecule. So unsymmetrical molecule, these two groups are not same. These two groups are not same. So therefore it is unsymmetrical molecule. So therefore number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n. N is the number of double bonds. Next, second condition. If molecule is unsymmetrical, no doubt that is 2.78, 2 power n. If molecule is unsymmetrical, that means after cutting, that doesn't give equal parts. So unsymmetrical, so number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n. N is the number of number of double bonds. Example, see here. For this, I am taking this compound, boys. See here, it is double bond, it is double bond. And it is CH double bond, CH. See here, boys. So this is the molecule. So if you cut at a double bonded position, wherever, so that means unequal parts are coming out. So if you cut here, if you cut here, if you cut here, so equal parts are not coming out. Okay, that's why it is unsymmetrical molecule, boys. See here, so this is one double bond, this is the second double bond, this is the third double bond. Therefore, number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power 3, which is 8 in answer. Number of C double bond C is equal to 3 in. So ring contains 2 and C double CH. This is one double bond. So therefore, overall number of stereogenic centers, that is nothing but double bonded centers, 3. Therefore, answer is 2 power 3. That is 3, 8 in answer. Therefore, total number of geometrical isomers are 8 in this case. Total number of geometrical isomers. Next one again, that is if terminal groups are same, that is CH double bond CH n times. So terminal group G and G, both the groups are same. These two terminal groups are same, boys. If terminal groups are same, then see here, boys. So it is a symmetrical condition. It is a symmetrical. Terminal groups are same. Terminal groups are same. In this case, if n is even, now number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n by 2 minus 1. Number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n by 2 minus 1. That is if n is even. If n is odd, number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n plus 1 by 2 minus 1. So that means if terminal groups are same, so then if n may be even or odd. So if it is even, 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n by 2 minus 1. Okay. Yes, branch also total component. Okay. If n is odd, so number of geometrical isomers is equal to 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n plus 1 by 2 minus 1. So these are the formulae used to calculate number of geometrical isomers, boys. Number of geometrical isomers. Okay. So let us discuss one by one with an examples. See here. Examples. First one, CH3, CH double bond CH, CH double bond C, CH, CH3 boys. CH3. Boys, it is cumulated diene boys. Cumene doesn't even number of double bonds, no geometric isomers. Already we know. That's why don't consider these. Don't consider. Therefore, only one double bond. Only one double bond. That implies number of geometric isomers is equal to 2 power 1. That is 2. Why not this one, sir? So even number of double bonds in cumene. So no geometric isomers. Already at the time of cumene, so we explained, boys. Okay. Therefore, this condition doesn't exhibit geometric isomerism. This condition doesn't exhibit geometric isomerism. Next, example 2. A particular examples I am going to explain, boys. See here. This one, cyclohexane. It is unsymmetric. It is unsymmetric, my dear boy. Unsymmetric 2 power n. Okay. So it is first of all unsymmetric end. It is unsymmetric condition. So whenever unsymmetric is there, 2 power n is the answer. If it is symmetric, then only 2 power n plus 2 power n by 2, that is 2 power n by, like that end. Okay. So that is, this is the molecule, boys. This is the molecule. Here, no double bonding. Where those hydrogens? Where those hydrogens? See here, if I am cutting here, so this is the group coming out, this is the group coming out. Are these two groups are same or different? No doubt different. If those are different, that is unsymmetric end. If similar groups are coming out after cutting at C double bond C, so that should be same end. Now it is unsymmetrical. So if those two groups are same, so okay. Boys, this is the group attached. This is G2, this is G1. Now G1, G2, both are different. Now G1, G2, both are different. Because this is the C double bond C. Okay. See here. See here. Cyclohexane. So cycloalkanes can also show geometrical isomerism. So therefore ring situation, boys. So here cis trans, it is I'm taking double bond like that. Therefore, in this case, 2 power 1, 2 is the answer. That is, it has a cis isomer and also has a trans isomer, boys. And also has a trans isomer. Next, ring also C double bond C. Next, third case. Next, third case. Okay. Next, if I am taking the compound like this, Cl, Cl, Cl. Okay. So now, boys, it is one ring here. It has a 2 power 1, 2 is the answer. All chlorines up. All chlorines up. So that is this. So one is down end. See here, I'm taking the structures like this. So Cl, all are in wedge. Cl, Cl. It is a cis compound, wise. Any one of these two is any one of these three is down. Automatically there should be trans end. This is wedge. This is wedge, but this is dash. So it is a trans compound, wise. So cis trans compounds are possible. These two are geometrical isomers. These two are geometrical isomers. Okay. Next. Next case, that is, see here. See here, how many geometrical isomers? Boys, Identify how many stereo C double bond C are there. It is unsymmetrical molecule, boys. It is unsymmetrical molecule. So our formula is 2 power n. See here, this is 1, this is 2, and this is ring. Ring also we consider 3 n. Therefore, n here is equal to 3. That is 2 power 3, which is equal to 8 is the answer. Number of geometrical isomers 8. Number of geometrical isomers 8. Okay. Next example, so some more examples. See here. CH3, CH double bond CH, CH double bond NH, CH double bond NH. In this case, how many geometrical isomers? Boys, this nitrogen is in sp2 condition, a double bond in nitrogen. So this one, both are possible. Both are possible. Therefore, our answer is 2 power n, 2 power 2, 4 is the answer. 2 power n, 2 power 2, 4 is the answer. Next, CH2 double bond CH, CH double bond CH, CH double bond CH. Tell me how many is the answer? How many are geometrical isomers are possible? How many geometrical isomers are possible? Tell me. Abhinay, wrong. Abhinay, wrong. Wrong, all of you. See, boys. So this is CH2. This is CH2. That means at this C double bond C, no geometrical isomer because these two groups are same. Therefore, no geometrical isomer. That's why don't consider this. Here also don't consider this. Only you should consider this one only. Because at these two locations, no geometrical isomerism. Therefore, n is equal to 1 in this case. Therefore, 2 power 1, that is 2 is the answer. 2 power 1, that is 2 is the answer. Okay. So these two centers, these two double bonds don't exhibit geometrical isomerism. Don't show geometrical isomerism. Because this carbon bonded with the two similar groups, this carbon bonded with the two similar groups, no cis, no trans condition is applicable. So therefore, answer is 200. Answer is 200. Okay. Next point, boys. See here. Boys, are these cis trans isomers or not? Are these cis trans isomers or not? Yes or no? Are these cis trans isomers or not? Why not, Vimal? Why not, Vimal? Vimal, why not? Nora, no. See here. Boys, here rotation around C single bond C, not around C double bond C. It is C single bond C. It is C single bond C. So therefore, it is these two compounds due to free rotation around C single bond C. These two are not geometrical isomers, boys. These two are not geometrical isomers. These are due to C single bond C rotation. These are due to C single bond C rotation. Therefore, these are conformational isomers. These are conformational isomers, not geometrical isomers, boys. This is called as S trans, and this one is called, we call as S cisra. S means a single bond. Single bond trans, single bond cis. It is not geometrical isomers, not cis trans isomers, not cis trans isomers, not geometrical isomers. These are conformational isomers because of free rotation around C single bond C and free rotation around C single bond C. Okay, so this is about how to find out number of geometrical isomers. So let us take some more examples, boys. See here. This one, boys. This one. Terminal groups. This is CH3. This is CH3. Terminal groups are same ending. Terminal groups are same. Okay. Next, 1, 2, 3. N is 3 ending. That is odd ending. Terminal groups. N is the same, boys. Now tell me the answer. Number of geometrical isomers. Is equal to 2 power n minus 1 plus 2 power n plus 1 by 2 minus 2 power n plus 1 by 2 minus 1. That is 2 power 3 minus 1 plus 2 power 3 plus 1 by 2 minus 1. That is a 2 power 2 plus 4 by 2. 2, 2 minus 1, 2 only. 2 power 1. That is why 4 plus 2, which is equal to 6, is the total number of isomers. Therefore, total number of isomers is equal to 6. Like this, boys. If terminal groups are same, apply this formula. If terminal groups are different, apply the 2 power n for addition. So this is about calculation of number of geometrical isomers. So this is the completing of geometrical isomerism, boys. Okay. So this is about geometrical isomerism. Okay. Hope you understood well. Am I correct? Okay. So boys, those 10 pages completed. Those 10 pages completed. Okay. Yes, I will send. So in my notes, number of other examples also there, boys. In my notes, number of other examples also there. Please follow those also. So before you are going to take your assignment, so first complete my notes. Okay. So this is about geometrical isomerism. Next topic. So boys, use your fresh pages at last. These 10 pages are completed here. So this is the completeness of 10 pages. Now, optical isomerism. Okay. It is very, very, very important and so much difficult also. Optical isomerism. What is this optical isomerism? Optical isomerism is nothing but, okay. So optical isomerism is nothing but, these are the pair of isomers. They can rotate. Plane polarizer light. So I will explain, boys, what is this plane polarizer light. So that can rotate, any compound that can rotate plane polarizer light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. Those compounds are optically active compounds. If one can rotate clockwise and other can rotate anti-clockwise, that pair of compounds having same molecular formula. One can rotate plane polarized light towards right and another one rotate towards left is called as optical isomers or optically active isomers. So let us discuss one by one. That means there is a plane polarized light. Sir, what is this plane polarized? So before going to take this optical isomerism, we must know about optical activity. We must know about optical activity. See here. See boys. So this is ordinary light. This is the source of light. For this source of light, everywhere, every direction, vibrations are available, boys. This is ordinary light. This is ordinary light. Okay. So it has in all directions, vibrations are there. That is electromagnetic radiation in all directions available, boys. In all directions available. So if this ordinary light is passed through Nicol prism, a type of prism made with CaCO3. A type of prism made with CaCO3. If that ordinary light is passed through Nicol prism, all those directions are cut twice. So here only a light which is in one direction of vibrations are available. So this is the propagation. So these are the vibrations. Only one direction vibrations are there. So here all direction vibrations are there. Here only vibrations are only in one direction. So this is called as within one plane vibrations are all planes are cutting. All plane vibrations are cutted, boys. Only one plane vibrations are available. This light is called as plane polarized light. This is called as a plane polarized light. Okay. So that means ordinary light when passed through Nicol prism, that gives a plane polarized light. I am giving this one as a shortcut, boys, a plane polarized light, PPL. So in future, I am using PPL, boys. PPL means plane polarized light. That means, so within one plane, vibrations are there. All plane vibrations are cutted here. The prism used for that one is Nicol prism, boys. So that Nicol prism gives plane polarized. When ordinary light is passed through Nicol prism, that gives plane polarized light. That is very, very important in case of optical isomerism. Okay. So see here, for example, first of all, I am explaining this concept here. See, so this is ordinary light, boys. In all directions, vibrations are there. This is ordinary light. Okay. It is passed through a circular hole. It is passed through a circular hole. Okay. So now, so all direction vibrations are coming out, boys. It is nothing but ordinary light. It is also nothing but ordinary light, boys. Okay. So here, vibrations are in all directions. Vibrations are in all directions. Now, this is passed through. This is passed through a polarimeter, an instrument used to give plane polarized light. That is called as a polarimeter. That contains polarimeter. This has a Nicol prism. That polarimeter has a Nicol prism. Okay, it is a Nicol prism. Nicol prism made with CaCO3, boys. Okay, so this Nicol prism, boys. So it has two halves. Its refractive index 1. Its refractive index 2. So two parts both have different refractive index. So both different refractive indices are there. So that is made with a special type of prism made with CaCO3. That is Nicol prism. Nicol prism. Okay. So now, so the coming out, the emerging light has only vibrations in one direction. Only vibrations in one direction, which is called as plane polarized light. Which is called as a plane polarized light. if this plane polarizer light is passed through an instrument which is called as, boys, is not polarimeter, it is polarizer. So that means polarizing light will be coming out, boys, polarizer. It is polarizer. That means polarizing light is coming out. Now it is converted into polarimeter, boys. So it is the instrument used to identify how much polarization, that means optical rotation is taking place. Polarimeter. It is a polarimeter and here. So it contains a tube. See here. So this contains a glass tube having length L decimeters. Boys, length I am taking in decimeters. So the distance, the length of this tube is L decimeters. I am taking decimeters length. Okay. Next, it has a substance end. So solution concentration wise expressed in gram per ml. So that means, so the solution, the substance whose optical rotation, optical activity, if you want to find out, so that is taking in the solution. So whose concentration is expressed in terms of gram per ml, gram per ml. Okay, that is a filled here in L decimeter length tube. Okay, so this is polarimeter, boys. So after that, this plane polarized light may observe in different conditions, boys. All these three are possible here. What are all those three? For example, if plane polarized light as it is coming out, so no rotation is taking place, as it is coming out, that means this substance, boys, this is a substance solution. This substance is optically inactive. That means when plane polarized light passing through a solution, substance solution, if it is not rotated any direction, only that straight forward is coming out, that substance is called as optically inactive substance. Next, for example, if plane polarized light, see here. So this is actual condition, boys. This is actually we expected, but it can rotate like this. That means something angular. Boys, this is clockwise rotation. So it is a clockwise rotation. Clockwise rotation. This is clockwise rotation. That clockwise rotation is called as dextro rotation. Indicated with the letter small d. Small d is nothing but dextro rotation, boys, which is also considered as a plus rotation, positive rotation, dextro rotation. Okay, that means here plane polarized light rotated towards clockwise direction, clockwise rotation, boys, clockwise rotation. Okay, that is how much rotation is taking place. That is alpha is the rotation, boys. Alpha is the rotation towards clockwise direction. Alpha is the rotation. That is observed rotation. Observed rotation. Okay. So this is clockwise rotation. If you observe like this, so this is actually we expected, but the rotation is like this. That means it rotates in anti-clockwise direction. This is anti-clockwise. It is anti-clockwise direction, boys. So how much rotation? It is also alpha rotation, boys. It is also alpha. That is observed rotation. Observed rotation. Okay. This is called as LEVO. LEVO rotation or L rotation. Small letters, boys. Both D and L are small letters. The small d, small l indicates rotations. Dextro means towards right. That is clockwise direction. Levo towards left. LL left towards left. Anti-clockwise direction. So here it is a negative rotation, boys. Minus rotation. That means, so if a substance gives like this, it is optically inactive. So these two conditions, either clockwise rotation or anti-clockwise rotation, this is considered as a optically active condition. The substance is considered as a optically active substance. What is that? this substance, what we are taking here. So this substance is optically inactive. So if it seems to be like this substance is optically active, whether the plane polarized light is rotated either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So this is the experiment what we observed, boys. Here alpha is the rotation, that is the observed rotation, boys. Here alpha is equal to observed rotation. This observed rotation, this observed direction directly proportional to length of the tube and also directly proportional to concentration of solution. This observed rotation is directly proportional to length of the tube and also directly proportional to concentration of the solution. Okay, see here. So that is alpha observed is directly proportional to length of the tube and concentration of solution. Length I am taking L, boys. Concentration I am taking Cn. So length in decimeter, concentration in gram per ml. Concentration is expressed in terms of gram per ml. Okay. So now, so this gives alpha observed is equal to some constant which is called as specific rotation, boys. Which is called as a specific rotation at a particular wavelength, that is a light polarized light wavelength, at a particular temperature L into Cne. Therefore, alpha lambda T is equal to alpha observed by L into Cne. This is the formula used to calculate. So this is called as, we call it as specific rotation. We call it as specific rotation. Why is this specific rotation is independent of length and concentration, but observed rotation is directly proportional to length and concentration. So see here, specific rotation is independent of L and C. Very, very important. Specific rotation is independent of L and C, but observed rotation directly proportional to L and also directly proportional to concentration of the solution. So by using this formula, we can calculate. So specific rotation, how much rotation is taking place? That specific rotation we will calculate, boys. So that is very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. So therefore, alpha, which is nothing but at a particular lambda, it is the wavelength of light passing into the polarimeter, that is plane polarized light wavelength at a particular temperature T. At a particular temperature T, that means alpha value depends on wavelength and temperature. Alpha value depends on, that is a specific rotation, depends on wavelength and it depends on temperature, but not it depends on L and C. That is a specific rotation, guys. Okay, so that is specific rotation is directly is equal to observed rotation by L into C. This is the formula, very, very, very important. This formula is used to find out specific rotation of optically active substance. If the rotation is in clockwise direction, which is called as clockwise direction, that is called as dextro rotation. If that rotation is in anti-clockwise direction, which is called as levo rotation. So if any one direction is rotated, that is that substance which can rotate that like that is called as optically active substance. If no rotation takes place, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, no rotation takes place, which is called as, and that is optically inactive substance. That means our substances, according to this optical isomerism, two types: optically active, optically inactive. Which cannot rotate plane polarized light in any direction is optically inactive. Which can rotate plane polarized light either in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, which is called as optically active substance. Sir, when a compound is optically active, when a compound is optically inactive, that is we are going to discuss in this optical isomerism. Guys, is there any doubt up to now? Is there any doubt up to now? It is very, very, very important. Optical activity means the tendency of a substance that can rotate that plane polarized light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction is called as optical activity. Such substances are called as optically active substances. If not, that is optically inactive substance, which is called as optically inactive substance. Okay, I'm not explaining, just I'm giving information. I will explain with different examples later. We will explain. Okay, so up to now, is there any clarification? Do you want any clarification? So which one is optically active condition? Which one is optically inactive condition? What is that substance? I will explain. Please wait. The substance, about the concepts, I will explain, boys. So a substance which can rotate plane polarized light, a substance which can rotate plane polarized light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction is called as optically active substance. If not, that is optically inactive substance. Optically, the concept, the phenomena of rotation of plane polarized light either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction is called as optical activity. Is called as optical activity. See, boys, so when this compound is optically active, when this compound is, the given compound is optically inactive. So before going to explain that, so we must know about some information, boys. Some information. Okay. Okay. Note down these points. Optically active substance. Nothing but any substance which can rotate plane polarized light either in clockwise or in anti-clockwise. Any substance which can rotate plane polarized light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction, which is called as optically active substance, which is also called as optical isomer, which is also called as enantiomer, which is also called as enantiomer, which is also called as enantiomer. So this is called as optical isomerism or enantiomorphism. Enantiomorphism is nothing but optical isomerism, boys. So enantiomers. So here I'm going to give enantiomers. These are nothing but optical isomers. Isomers. One can rotate clockwise direction. One can rotate plane polarized light clockwise direction. Other can rotate plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction. So one can rotate plane polarized light in clockwise direction and other can rotate plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction. That pair of isomers having same molecular formula. Boys, so isomers, molecular formula same. It's very important. Molecular formula same. So same molecular formula, one can rotate plane polarized light in clockwise direction and the other one can rotate anti-clockwise direction. That phenomena is called as enantiomerism, and that is called as enantiomers, which is nothing but optical isomerism. Okay, enantiomorphism. Next, optically inactive substance. Optically inactive substance. That means not rotates plane polarized light in any direction, not rotates, which is called as optically inactive substance. Here the frequently used words are symmetric molecules, asymmetric molecules, disymmetric molecules first. So let us observe one by one. See here, disymmetric molecule and disymmetric molecule. Disymmetric molecule. What is this disymmetric molecule? The molecule which has no plane of symmetry, that is a POS voice. Later I am going to use POS. POS means plane of symmetry, no center of symmetry. COS, no alternative axis of symmetry. Alternative axis of symmetry. No alternative axis of symmetry. Okay, but has axis of symmetry. So that type of molecule is called as a disymmetric molecule. Sir, what are these plane? There is plane of symmetry, axis of symmetry, point of symmetry. What is that? I will explain, boys. Please wait. So that means any substance has no plane of symmetry, no center of symmetry, no alternate axis of symmetry, but has only axis of symmetry. I will explain tomorrow all these. Boys. Which is disymmetric molecule. Next, asymmetric molecule. Asymmetric molecule. What is this asymmetric molecule? So it has no plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, alternative axis of symmetry, and axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. That means all symmetric operations are cancelled here. No symmetry is there. Okay. So except, boys, it is except C1 axis. C1 axis is common for every compound, boys. I will explain what is this C1, C2 like this. Please wait. So that means almost all symmetric operations are cancelled here. That type of molecule is called as asymmetric molecule. So disymmetric molecule and asymmetric molecule. So here any asymmetric molecule can rotate that plane polarized light either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. That means molecule which can molecule is asymmetric. Okay. So if molecule is asymmetric, then that is optically active. Boys. Okay. So therefore, asymmetric molecule is optically active molecule. Asymmetric molecule is optically active. Okay. Now, see here, boys. That is, note down this point. Note point. If a molecule has axis of symmetry, if a molecule has axis of symmetry, that then it may or may not be an optically active substance. It may or may not be an optically active substance, boys. So axis of symmetry is there. So if axis of symmetry is there, that may be optically active or may not be optically active, boys. Let us take an example. So see here, this is the molecule, boys. This is the molecule. This is chlorine. This is chlorine. Okay. So boys, all these we are explaining tomorrow in this weight because time is insufficient. That is why I'm not starting here symmetric operations. Tomorrow I will start with symmetric operations. Up to now, please wait. Okay, it has C2 axis heading. It has C2 axis. I will explain. So it is optically active. It is optically active. Now C double bond C, ClH. It is ClHn. It has C2 axis is there. It is also, but optically inactive. That means it cannot rotate plane polarized light, boys. It cannot rotate plane polarized light. Okay. So what is this C2 axis? I will explain. Tomorrow I will explain, boys. Next point. All disymmetric, it is second note point. All disymmetric, it is first note point. All disymmetric and asymmetric molecules are chiral. Chiral is nothing but asymmetrical. Or chiral, but reverse is not proven. But reverse is not true, boys. So chiral, I will explain chirality tomorrow morning. So that means, so any optically active substance, any chiral center, if a substance having a chiral molecule, if it has optical activity, so that means that compound has a mirror image, boys. So non-superimposable mirror image we should explain. So if any compound having non-superimposable mirror image, those compounds are optically active substances. Okay. So it is not possible to explain mirror images, boys. So that's why I'm explaining those with symmetric operations. Tomorrow we will discuss different symmetry operations, guys. Right now I'm closing this topic here. Thank you.